All right, everyone. Welcome once again to our Meal Solution Mondays class, which in the month of July, it is hot, right? So we are celebrating the idea of no-cook meals, and a bit of a fancy traditional no-cook meal would be gazpacho, okay? And that's what we're going to focus on today, but we are going to switch it up a little bit, and we are going to be making a golden gazpacho, okay? So if you're not familiar with gazpacho is essentially a chilled soup. Typically, it is made with tomatoes and it's usually red. I've made various types of gazpachos that are solely tomatoes with a few other summery vegetables in. I've also done a watermelon gazpacho before to have a little bit of a sweeter take on it. But today, like I said, we are focused on golden. So you will see all of our yellowish orange produce items that we're going to be throwing into the mix here. All right. This is what it looks like, pulled right from our savory recipe resource site. And it's actually a golden gazpacho with white wine and feta. All right. So even taking it up a little bit of a notch more here. As you can see down below, I have the links to the recipes. So after today's class, we'll be sending out a follow-up email where you can access the links just right in the email, or if you want to save this presentation, you have them there as well, both Giant and Martin. Here are the ingredients that we will be working with today. You can see it's not a whole lot, right? Less than 10, I believe. And they all are of that yellow or orangish hue, which is going to produce this really beautiful golden gazpacho for us today. Okay, so lots of summery produce going in, some other items we're going to talk about too. But before we actually start making the recipe, I wanted to take a little bit of a dive into some of the products that we're going to be using today. Starting off with fennel. Fennel is not one that I myself use a lot when cooking, so I wasn't sure if a lot of you have either. So I just wanted to take a second here and give it a bit of a spotlight. When I see fennel, I really think onion first, right? Like it kind of looks like a green onion, or the size of it more so makes me think of a leek in that onion family. But it actually is a part of the carrot family, which you'll see, or you did just see, some of the other products that we're adding to our gazpacho today. We're doing carrot juice, we're doing actual carrots. So the flavor is going to blend very well because they are part of that same family. But the taste is, of course, going to be a bit different than a carrot. The taste of fennel, if you've never had it before, is very similar to anise. Um, Fennel and anise are not the same thing. They are different, although they still both produce that licorice type flavor. They are two different entities, okay? And actually a part of two different families as well. But like I just mentioned, both fennel and anise give off this licorice vibe. And that's probably why I haven't used it very much, because licorice is not my favorite flavor. But mixed into something like this gazpacho, where we have some other acidic notes and the carrots and peppers, I think it's going to come together really nicely. Just to note, all parts of the fennel are edible. Okay, so from the bulb to the stalks or to the fronds, as they're called, all of those parts can be edible. And the fronds, or like the things that look like dill, is what I want to say. They actually give a similar vibe to dill. Okay, dill is also in this carrot family as well. And you're going to see that we're going to garnish our gazpacho with those fennel fronds up top there. So we're going to cut into it here in a moment, put the fronds to the side so we can use as the garnish later. But all parts of the fennel can be eaten. Now, if you're saying, well, hey, I don't have fennel, but how about fennel seeds, right? Like the actual spice that you can get in the spice section of our stores. You could use those, but in this recipe in particular, the fennel is actually adding some bulk to our gazpacho. So it wouldn't really be an equal swap of that context. But also, if you are going to use actual fennel seeds in a recipe, definitely use them sparingly. They are much more potent than the rest of the bulb. Okay, the rest of the fennel bulb, it has a much more mild flavor compared to the actual seeds. So just keep that in mind. The next item I wanted to highlight in here, as I said, the recipe is actually called golden gazpacho with white wine and feta. So I didn't actually get white wine per se for today's recipe, but I did get the Holland House white cooking wine. Now, mind you, cooking wine isn't necessarily not alcoholic, okay? It is still made with wine, but there's other things added to it that are good for cooking reasons, like salt in particular, okay? So this isn't something that you would actually buy in the wine section and drink, all right? It is in the cooking section. It is not meant to be a beverage by any sort. It's just meant to be an ingredient for cooking. That is what we are going to use today. I decided to stick with the actual wine vibe since that's what the title called for. But if you're looking for a complete replacement, maybe you don't want to get the cooking wine, or as I said, there is added salt to the cooking wine. So if you're watching the sodium content, some good swap outs would be to do a low sodium chicken broth or vegetable broth. Both of those could be used, or also apple juice or grape juice. Okay, so if you have those two items on hand, all of those are 1-for-1 ratio. So our recipe today calls for a half a cup of white wine. We're going to use the half a cup of cooking wine instead. You could also use a half a cup of a broth or a juice as well. Last items that I wanted to mention here for you are some that are on sale right now. Okay, these are still going to be on sale through Thursday of this week. Both the yellow bell pepper and the prepackaged sweet corn, as well as individual ears of sweet corn too, both on sale right now. So it's a great time to try this recipe because you can pick up some items for lunch. All right. So here are the directions for making our gazpacho today. Once again, you're going to see that it's very simple, quick and easy, not a lot of ingredients, going to be easy for us to whip together for lunch today. So let's go ahead and get to it here. All right, I'm going to pull up my ingredients, as you can see over here. Now, I have my blender over here to the right. That's what I'm going to be putting everything in. I can kind of move this over so you can see it. I'll show that more when we're actually going to blend, okay? Now, I'm going to work a little bit backwards in the ingredient list here, and I'm actually going to start with our liquids back here. Whenever you're blending something in the blender, even if it's just a smoothie, it's good to add the liquids first because that's going to help the blades move a bit better. So we're going to add the liquids first. If you were making a smoothie, then after the liquids, you would add like a protein powder or something like that. And then the last thing that you add are these heavier veggies or even fruits, okay? So we're going to do a half a cup each of our liquids, starting off with the carrot juice. Okay, this is Lakewood Pure Organic Carrot Juice, fresh pressed. So we need, as I said, a half a cup here. And we'll go ahead and pour that into my blender. All right. Next, we need a half a cup of that white wine. So whatever you're deciding to use, whether it's actual white wine, the cooking wine, apple juice, grape juice, a broth. But I've always heard, and once again, I don't cook with wine much, but I have always heard don't buy a cheap wine if you're going to cook with wine. Cook with one that you would actually want to drink because the flavor is going to make a difference. This one I've never used before, but it does get a lot of good reviews on our website. Their website was pretty nice as well. So I think it's going to be a good one. All right. So we have both of our liquids in there. Now we're going to go ahead and start working with our veggies. All right. And I think I'm going to go with our corn here first. I did buy the prepackaged sweet corn that I mentioned is on sale right now where you get 5 ears in one. That way you have some for this recipe and then some for another. I did not cook this, okay? We are going to use fresh corn today. You could use frozen if you wanted. If you really wanted, you could also use canned. But I'm going to use this fresh corn And I talked about this in a different class where I've used corn before about how to cut it off the cob and whatnot. And can you eat it raw? And you absolutely can. Okay, it's going to be a nice fresh take on the gazpacho here. Why I have my bunt pan here, all right? We're not baking anything today, although I would like to. You guys know I love to bake. Is we're going to use the bunt pan as a way to hold our corn and cut it off the cob, and it's going to collect the corn kernels down here for us, okay? So it's just a nice way to steady that corn in there. And then as you can see, the corn, sorry, move my hand here, just drops right into the bunt pan. So then it's contained for you, all right? You're not making a huge mess everywhere. If you're someone who loves to buy corn this time of year, maybe you're making chicken corn soup or just freezing corn for later use, I would definitely recommend this in terms of a great way to cut a lot of corn off the cob. Okay, so once again, all contained in there like that for us. We need a whole cup, which I don't think we're quite at yet. So I'm going to cut this other one over here. But also, I believe I mentioned this before, which I'm going to say they're perfect. Do you guys see here on my knife this like milky color? This milk, quote unquote milk, not real milk, but like this milky substance comes from the corn, and that is what gives sweet corn its sweet taste. Okay, it's just the natural sweetness that's in sweet corn seeping out. So it's going to come out when you actually cut it off the cob. But another way to get a little more out is to take the dull side of your knife and kind of just brush it along your cob here. And that's going to help release more of those juices. You see that on there? More of those juices to add that lovely natural sweetness to our gazpacho or any dish that you're making. Okay, and now I can even see it dripping down the side here. All right, we'll put that to the side. We'll get some of that off and in there. Let's cut this other one off the cob. And then we will add this to our blender, okay? Now, as I've mentioned, I've made some gazpachos before. And in terms of a golden gazpacho, we're not using this today, but another ingredient that you could use would be like a beautiful yellow heirloom tomato. I love heirloom tomatoes. Like if you want to stick to a classic gazpacho where it uses tomatoes, hold on just a second. We'll milk that corn in a moment. Let's just wipe this off. So if you want to stick to like the classic vibe of a gazpacho and have that tomato essence in there, then use some golden tomatoes. And I would still do the corn and the pepper in there, but swap the carrots for a golden tomato. That would also work really lovely. I just love heirloom tomatoes in general. I think they're really nice. Okay, so let's see here what we got in terms of corn. Do we have a whole cup here? This is a half a cup. My whole cup is in the dishwasher, of course. All right, so we got one. I think we're good here. I'm just gonna put the rest of this in. A little extra won't hurt. Okay, let me pan over here to our blender. Hi guys, the blender is saying hi. Yep, all right. Move this over here. Come a little closer. My blender's like right under the cabinet. It's a problem at times, but anywho, oh, you guys don't need to see my arm. All right, we're just gonna scoop it out. That was a better process, but I'm gonna add this all in. Okay, there we go. All right, good enough for now. Good, good. Now, let's work. Sorry, I'm all around here with you guys. Let's work next with our yellow bell pepper. Okay, so we need one of these. I'm going to go ahead. Everybody kind of has their own way to cut a pepper. This is how I do it. I'm just going to take the top off like that. We can still use these pieces then too. And then we're just going to cut around the sides of it here. So that way we're not getting all of those seeds in there or that stem. Okay, and then we will cut these up and put them in. You could also, I think, throw an orange pepper in here if you want it to be a little bit more golden than yellow, like an orangish tone. I think that would work. We don't have to go crazy in terms of chopping this because we are putting it into the blender, but we'll do a little bit more, right? From a nutrition standpoint, pepper is going to be a great source of vitamin C in our gazpacho. Do one more little chop on these. You know, we often think about oranges and vitamin C, but this is a season right now with bell peppers coming into the garden, and those are definitely going to help us out in the way of vitamin C as well. Okay, a couple more here to chop up. I'm a fan of yellow peppers. Yellow and orange are my favorite because they're a little bit more naturally sweet too compared to the green ones. Red ones are you know, good too, but I love the color of the yellow and the orange. Okay. See the blender? They're in there. Okay, what are we gonna do next? I'm gonna just wipe these seeds over here to the side a bit. Let's work with our carrots. Okay, recipe calls for 2 carrots. Guys, I love getting these carrot and celery sticks. That way, if you don't want to get like a whole thing of carrots, you want just like some snacking type carrots, that's what these are good here for. So I'm just gonna cut a couple of them that I would think would probably equal about 2 carrots, maybe just one more for good measure in here. And then that way too, you have the celery that you can snack on or use for a different recipe. Okay, gonna go ahead, put those in. If you're interested in these, you haven't gotten them before, they are found in our fresh cut fruit and veggie section there on the produce wall. So check those out. Now, shall we tackle the fennel? And I say shall we in the way that I've never done this before, right? Right, okay? Oh, I do a lot of things for the first time with you guys, and this is one of them. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna cut off this top part, right? We're gonna save these, see how this kind of looks like dill? We're gonna save this and use that to garnish here in a minute. All right, I'm just putting it to the side. I can already smell that licorice smell after I cut that off. It's not that I don't like the smell of the licorice, just not my favorite taste, okay? Now I'm just going through cutting that bottom off, okay? And we only need half of the fennel bulb. So we'll go ahead, cut this in half here. And we have a little bit, as you can see here, a little bit of this core left as well. So we can kind of just pull this apart. We could also slice this out here too. Okay, just like a little triangle. Okay, and go the whole way down. There we go. Pull that out, I think. I'll cut down this edge. There we go. Okay. So we're going to use just this half here. Chop the rest of this up. Once again, gives you onion vibes, right? Like a leek, but it's not. It actually smells quite lovely. I can tell that it is going to be a milder licorice flavor. The smell is beautiful, actually. Okay, putting them in here. Just do another little rough chop. It is going into the blender. My blender is not the best. I'm time for a new one. My food processor that I usually use, that's a goner too. Time to get something new. So bear with me here. Okay. The fennel is in. And now, let me move this to the side. Whoops, sorry guys. All right, we'll move the blender over here. And see, a little more. We are going to add our last ingredient, which is some feta cheese here. All right, 6 tablespoons are going in right now. It's going to add some nice creaminess to our gazpacho, and then we're going to reserve a couple tablespoons for garnish. Okay, 1, 2. I'm just going to keep counting because I'll lose count. You guys know 4, 5, and 6. I love feta. Isn't it the best? I think it's the best. Okay. Here we go. We're gonna push this down just a hair, and then we're gonna start to blend. This might take a little bit of time, guys, because like I said, my blender is not the best, but let's do this. Here we go. Oh, you know what? It always helps when you plug it in first, right? Now we're gonna go. Okay. This is going much better than anticipated. All right, let's do another blend. Here we go. You can blend this as little or as much as you would like, right? If you would like a thicker consistency. I think I'm gonna give it one more go. All right, once again, I'm super surprised that that went the way that it did. Woo! All right, let's take this off. Move this back here, clean up my workstation a bit. But once again, right, we're in no cook meals. We did not cook anything right now. We chopped a few things. We used a few convenience items from our store to help with the chopping. And we just blended. And look how pretty that is. It is definitely golden. It is lovely. Let's get a bowl. Now, recipes suggest that we chill this for 30 minutes to make it nice and cold. These types of soups, I will say, are better cold. But for the sake of today, of course, we're not going to wait that long. I'm going to plate this up for you guys. If you needed it immediately yourself, you could always add some ice cubes just to chill it a bit. Oh, so pretty. Okay, a little more. Beautiful. Put that back here. How lovely. Let's garnish. Yes. Let's bring that feta cheese back in. Just to, oh, I don't want to overdo it, but I love feta. All right, just a hair more. Okay, no more, Shayna. Good. All right, we got that. Let's take I'm grabbing the fennel fronds. Hold on. These, right? Just like dill. I'm gonna smell this. It kind of smells like dill, like a licoricey dill. Aha, how beautiful. How fun is that? Let's just go just a hair. Okay. Yep. Don't get carried away. Beautiful. Move that one. All right. There it is, guys. Our golden gazpacho with white wine and feta. I am so excited to try it. It looks great. Okay, let me try oh, hold on, let me get a spoon. I've got to take a picture of it, but I'll try it for the sake of you guys first. Okay, let's bring my camera back on. All right. Here we go. I can always plate another one. Let's see how it is. And remember, it's not going to be super cold. I'm going to take a bit from the edge. Oh, that's nice. It almost tastes citrusy. And I don't know if that's like my mind playing tricks on me because it's like orangish, but it's really beautiful. I like this. This is going to be added to my gazpacho list for sure. Okay. Let me pull my screen back up here for you guys just to show you a couple more things. As I said, we are celebrating no cook meals for the whole month of July. So we still have 2 weeks left, right? Like, don't rush our summer away. We have 2 weeks left of July. Next week, Joni will be back with you guys doing a buffalo chicken salad. And then Jenna will be finishing up the month with a mango and shrimp summer roll recipe. So if you're not already signed up for those, there's the link at the bottom to make sure that you do. Here's the exciting news, guys. Tomorrow, we're having a special little fun class. I'm hosting it. It is Christmas in July. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. So not our usual time, right? It's at 10 a.m. tomorrow because we have produce spotlight at 12. So tickets are there. Tickets are there at the bottom. Online tickets, of course. So sign up for that. Register if you aren't already to hang out with me tomorrow at 10 a.m. We are gonna have so much fun, like so much fun. There's gonna be music, guys. So it's gonna be a good time. Come back tomorrow morning and hang out with me for that. All right. So thank you guys so much. I hope you take care the rest of the day and the week, but come back and be with me tomorrow. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing my screen at this point and stop the recording. And we will check out